As soon as we heard that Sonic Frontiers would feature leveling up Sonic stats and using a skill tree, my first thought was, I want to beat this game without doing any of that. So, here we go. Most of the footage here was taken from my live streams. You can find my streams over at twitch.tv/Snackpigeon with a 1 and a 0. So before we begin, let's discuss the rules. The first rule is I cannot upgrade any of Sonic's stats under any circumstances. Not all of Sonic's stats are relevant at all in every situation, so we should be able to find some workarounds for this. Rule number 2, I cannot upgrade Sonic's skill tree except for cyloop. Cyloop is a compulsory skill anyway, and a lot of the game revolves around using the cyloop. There are a few skills Sonic learns on his journey as well that are activated by default, and these are also allowed, as the game requires them to a certain extent. Well, at least Grand Slam. I think it would be boring to never use the others. Rule number 3, I have to defeat all the Guardians on each island at least once. Sure, I could just skip them and fish for the portal gears, but I'll get onto that in a minute. The whole point of this run is to see how Sonic stands against these enemies with limited power, so avoiding them will not only defeat the purpose, but it probably won't be fun either. Rule number 4, no fishing. Like, it's too easy to use fishing to skip everything, since it's a waste to use tokens on Seeds or Lost Cocoa. All the fishing tokens can be put towards vault keys and memory tokens, so we won't be doing any of that. So, with all that being said, let's dive right into this absolute nightmare of a playthrough. The start of the game isn't really affected by any of the rules put in place, but it doesn't make this irrelevant. Cyberspace stages are the most reliable way to earn vault keys, so I took my time to get all the missions in the stage done. If you complete all the missions in a stage, you get 7 vault keys, so this is huge. The tutorial isn't really affected with these rules either. The first major thing here is the Triangusi fight. No, sorry, I meant the Think Ninja Mommy fight. No, sorry, I meant the ninja fight. Sorry, I think my mic wasn't working properly there. Right. Don't be stupid here. Space out your attack so you can be ready to parry and take advantage of the slow-mo to get in lots of attacks. That's all you have to do. Because I have the DLC applied, I wanted to at least try and get lots of the memory tokens on this island, so I took the time to collect all the ones in this area before moving on. Just after the ninja fight, the game forces you to pick up the cyloop ability, so this will be the only skill in the skill tree we will take for the rest of the run. Yeah, no phantom rushing this time around. Also, not doing tricks in the air is bound to frustrate me. To continue beyond the bridge, I have to complete stage 1 too, but I'm 1 gear short, so we have to take on resisting the urge to make a dick joke. The tower is pretty straightforward without any special skills or levels. Just attack it as you can, and when it slams, you can run up to its head and stomp on it to beat it. I know it's not what I did in the run, but like, don't worry about that. So now we have to beat 1-2, and this is not easy. Upgrades and skills have literally zero effect in cyberspace, so once again, the rules don't apply here. I tried my best to make good use of the homing attack counts for the speed boosts. Getting the S rank here will definitely take a few tries. Beating all the missions for the 7 keys is just an efficiency thing. I want out of this nightmare as soon as possible, so the faster the better, you know? All those Coco sitting around the Chaos Emerald were looking kinda sus, so I decided they weren't worth saving. I make a mad dash for 1-3 to get more keys, and then just go straight for Asura. There are no upgrades I have to hold out for, so there isn't really point in powering up, per se. It went okay, I guess. Are you sitting here and fucking telling me that my mouse just ran out of battery while I was recording that? Oh my god. There's no way. There's actually no way. But surely that doesn't count, right? Nothing touched me, surely. After the political debate with Asura, it's time to uncover the island. No need to uncover the entire thing, just enough for me to see where all the portals and guardians are, since they're the most important part of this. With 1 guardian left, I decided to hunt down the squid early, since there's really no need for much else. Having the DLC applied does save a bit of time, but I explored as much as I could to try and make up for it. Against the squid, it's worthwhile grabbing infinite boost quickly before chasing it. You might think, but Snack, there's no way you can beat the squid in 1 cycle with level 1 attack power. Well, let me show you this. Wait, I could parry, couldn't I? That's what I'm saying, River. My man just appears. He was like, nah, I'm just doing it. Anyway. Pretty clean squid. Fuck off. Yep. If you can, parry any enemy attacks to slow them down. You can get the most out of Sonic's limited power this way. So now, we just need some extra keys to get the rest of the emeralds. Yes, I got distracted from the cyberspace portal that I wanted to be distracted by. I love my brain. I probably have ADHD, but I haven't been tested and I don't really want to be. Anyways, that's besides the point. Giganto didn't seem happy that I was enjoying myself with this game, so I got into a bit of an argument with them. Seemed like anything I said would just go right through them. Look, they're just doing it. They cannot be stopped. My god! After I made a reasonable argument for my case, I was reasonably thrown into a few buildings. Now that we have enough keys, we can grab the rest of the emeralds, do the Sonic Generation side mission goofy minigames, do this thing, head up the mountain, be turned into stretch resolution for no reason, like come on, tell me you see it too, my guy is white, and then we properly face off against Giganto now. So, Sonic has a speed cap during the boss fight, which means speed stats are worthless, and he can't take any damage, so defense stats are also worthless. You can survive longer during the bosses if your ring cap is higher, and beat the boss faster if your attack power is higher, but they're not high at all, so let's see what we can do. My problem was that I basically deal no damage, so isn't that just great? How the hell am I going to take his health down faster than my ring count? Like, come on, what even is this? The only efficient way to actually deal damage is to land a parry and go straight into a Grand Slam. Getting a few hits in before attacking is hardly worth it. Just parry, Grand Slam, approach, parry, Grand Slam, approach, parry, Grand Slam, throw the laser away, approach, parry, Grand Slam, throw the laser away, and eventually they die. The first thing to do on Aries Island is fight the Strider, to be honest. The Strider is incredibly annoying with low attack power because you actually have to take on its second phase, which is, yeah. There isn't anything to parry on the Strider, so you can't take advantage of any slow-mo or whatnot. Just raw attacks is the only way, and you have to suck it up with the second phase. I could have dealt just enough damage for it to not be second phase, and then only put up with one cycle of it, but I wasn't paying enough attention here. I also wasn't going to chance it if I had no rings, better to drop down and cyloop a few times to be safe. After some hunting, I remembered what to do in order to find the Chaos Emeralds, even more exploring, and then some cyberspace. 2-2 is a pretty straightforward stage, very short, easy to cheese, well, maybe for some, but not for me. 2-1 was also a fun stage, and then, you guessed it, more exploring! The Sumo Guardian isn't too difficult, since the finishers you do don't depend on attack power. It's more about avoiding the damage when trying to cyloop it. A few cycles and you'll have it beaten. Tank, however, not easy. No, not easy at all. The lack of defense makes Sonic lose way too many rings, and it's really easy to get hit here. Not only that, but you're also out of luck if you want a one-cycle fight, because Sonic is not strong enough. A few attempts at this and I eventually got it. I was prepared to give up, but it's not like I could come back stronger at a later time anyway. And then, don't even get me started on the shark. Bad enough that the shark was lagging my stream output, but there isn't any way to stall it once it's stunned. The attack power made this pretty tough, but the chase part isn't anything special, just wish I didn't screw this up as much. I'm just now realising how beneficial it would have been to save Knuckles as early as possible, because then I'd have unlocked Cyclone Kick earlier. Whatever. Life is full of many regrets, playing this challenge is probably one of them. After knocking out some more cyberspace, it's time to go and actually rescue Knuckles. The game gives you Cyclone Kick at this point, so as I just mentioned, get it as soon as you can. And then the Wyvern attacks. All this part really takes is timing and concentration. You're in a fixed area, so you can't stop at anything. It's nothing special, all it is a little annoying. For me anyway, because my reactions are really bad. Since most of the emeralds are already collected, it's now a case of doing the funny little mini-games for Knuckles. Chat had a bit of an argument on whether the Among Us were actually real. What they didn't know was that Among Us actually stole the idea for their characters from this game. Chat is so silly sometimes. I still needed some memory tokens, so I took some time to try my new ability against weaker enemies. And just as I suspected, it doesn't change much. You're better off just doing a parry into Grand Slam against the weaker ones. If they turtle up, then use Cyloop. Luckily I found 2-7 because it's my favourite stage. I didn't really need to do it, but I wanted to anyway. The pressure arrived when Lily brought her friends together to watch the stream. For the record, there was nothing in my DMs. Had a quick Sonic Unleashed moment on the way back to Knuckles, some more Sonic Generations missions, gained the power to never make a dick joke again, collect even more tokens for Knuckles, survived the Starfall that was useless to me, one more puzzle, and now we can finally take on the Wyvern. You thought I was going to skip the opening to a boss fight? No way. You've got to be fucking... Unlike Giganto, the Wyvern doesn't actually have an easy way out. After the first parry, you will have to use Sonic's standard attacks as it's stunned, and then a second parry can lead into a Grand Slam. Some extra quick time events are thrown in to keep you on your toes, but none of them are incredibly hard. Patience is the whole premise of this. Be wary of his attacks, drop a Grand Slam as soon as you can, and then it's over for Wyvern. I decided to play the majority of Chaos Island off-stream just because of how annoying, boring, frustrating, don't know, the list goes on. I actually enjoyed it more this time around anyway. First order of business is to not muck up this island like I did in Aries, and save Tails nice and early for an extra move. Chaos Island is all over the place, so I made a smart decision and completed as many map challenges as I could see. At least when I fought the... No, I'm not making that joke again. When I fought the Shinobi, I actually made the good decision of parrying them for a few hits and then Grand Slam, like a good player does. Chaos Island has a lot of 2D sections, so gathering the tokens for Tails was a little bit tedious. Just gotta sit back, relax, and act like you're playing a classic era game. Decided to test my luck against the enemies on the island. Since we're quite far into the game at this point, the enemies are going to start to get strong, and most fights will be like a Guardian fight. Enemies start to block attacks more here, so it's good to make use of dodge into their 6 to get plenty of damage in. You can see Sonic's lackluster damage output from this map challenge, funnily enough. The damage one. Yeah, sure, you can still do a lot more than it asks for, but Sonic is also capable of much more than that. Kind of funny to see, to be honest. Okay, let's get on to Cyberspace. 3-1 is a fun stage. It's like that stage from Sonic Adventure 2, I forgot the name of it. I got lucky with a first try perfect run on this one, and now it's time to rescue Tails. You unlock Cross Slash at this point. It's a really nice move and certainly makes a massive difference in certain fights. I decided to take this move and challenge the Fortress with it. Fortress seems daunting, but even at level 1 it has just more bark than bite. The rail grinding is really easy, and once you catch up, just abuse Cross Slash to get the most damage possible. To think that I once genuinely had trouble with this thing. A few more map puzzles and I got lost. You see, this is why the map is an essential tool on this island. This is also why I recorded this off stream. I promise you though, I was having fun. I took on some more enemies to pass the time. I got incredibly lucky with a cheeky kill on that Metal Hawk enemy, and then I had to find more ways to pass the time. Sonic? Time to let distraction take its course, I guess. Things start to get a bit interesting when you grab the first emerald. Grab Infinite Boost and use the squid to outrun the night. During this chase, we get a short glimpse at the horrors we will eventually have to endure. While writing the script and following the video, I realised that it wasn't actually a case of eventually, rather, immediately. I had no idea where I was at this point, so I quickly uncovered the area before moving on. Wow, what a difficult challenge. I also spared some extra time towards some more cyberspace, and spent an embarrassingly long time at it. I don't even know how to explain what I was thinking. I just kept failing here, 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 also here, and then here. Challenging the spider, I tried to get creative and then discovered there was no point. Spider is a genuinely fun fight for me. You know, this whole thing about Sonic skydiving is just great. It's just a shame that level 1 defense is horribly punishing in combat. Took on the squid again for some reason, and then actually had more trouble with normal enemies straight afterwards. Spoke to the wrong Tails, on purpose, screwed up a puzzle proper IGN style, and then I endured a fully 3D area that could have worked perfectly fine in 3D. Sorry, I love this game, but they definitely ran out of ideas here. After talking to Tails, it was time for some foreshadowing. I quickly realised, how do I explain this, that in this minigame you can just hold down the light shot button the entire time and dark shot can override it whenever you need to. Not sure if that explanation makes sense, but it did save me from getting arthritis. And they still managed to make this tunnel in 2D, what the fuck? It was quite refreshing getting to test out my abilities on the enemies here, since now we're as strong as we're ever going to be for the rest of the game. Approach a beautifully crafted tunnel just for there to be more 2D! Also, what the hell happened here? Tried to be too much like Knuckles and Cyloop, the most bizarre things, but now we're finally out of the tunnel and can continue collecting the emeralds and doing the map puzzles. Most of the annoying stuff has passed by this point, and I promise it will be all worth it. The Lost Parts puzzle is pretty okay. I think the only necessary stat here is maybe attack power. It seemed to take just as long as it would have with, say, 20 attack power. Sonic, what are you doing with that? Stage 3-5 has that weird drift gimmick. Honestly, just jump over the drift panels. It's so much easier to lightspeed dash over all of them. I almost said lightspeed dash as an abbreviation. Could you imagine how questionable that would have been? And then the bridge mission. Take any damage and you would lose a lot of rings. This time it's a bit more forgiving since there's more rings for you during the fall. I was an actual ball hair away from succeeding, and oh boy. But next attempt I got it, so it's time to move on. One last long session of don't say it. And then we can finally collect the last Chaos Emerald. All we have left before the Titan fight is the pinball, which was... I don't know, Lily, I don't know. And then Sonic got dripped out, ready to fight the knight. Yo! Look at him go! Okay, touching just about every inch of his body in preparation. That's kind of messed up, Sonic. I started by attempting to cyloop the knight. I couldn't pull it off, but it's useless if you don't have the stomp attack skill anyway. Traditional method is to take a shield and then ram it into him. I was never successful in this before, so it was actually so hype seeing how Sonic tears him apart. I also never landed a Grand Slam before. Yeah, don't even ask. It was just amazing to see Sonic just pop off against him. Yes! No! You do actually have to make sure you hit the knight head on this part, otherwise it just gets cancelled out here. Entering phase 2, parry the shield at the correct spot to be able to fire it back at the Titan. He starts to attack much faster here. I was too busy being hyped from this that I couldn't pay enough attention for that. My ring count was getting a bit low, so I had to rely on Grand Slams moving forward. Pulled off one that synced far too well with the music, got bitch slapped once more, but that ends today, ending the fight with one of the most amazing looking boss finishes ever.
Finish him!
Back to Kronos Island. Wait, no, Rhea Island. This island really takes the game to another level of difficulty here. I have to admit, I had the absolute most trouble with... Sorry, I can't finish that sentence without holding back a laugh. There really isn't too much to talk about what happens on this island. Defense is the only stat that really matters. Sonic being able to make use of Cyclone Kick and Cross Slash is actually really helpful here, and it shows that Sonic Team did actually think about what moves Sonic should get by default. Both moves are especially helpful against that electric thing that takes however many hits to beat rather than damage. Spent a bit of time getting lost, fought a mythical cow udder. The rain came on creating immaculate vibes, chat were super wholesome, and I was being a bit goofy. Best island. Welcome to Grindset Island. We have Among Us, map challenges, treasure bait, you name it. First fight was against these cheetah looking things that I hoped would drop a gear, but unfortunately they aren't a guardian. Sonic was absolutely balling with the map challenges on this island. The first guardian I took on was the Ghost. This fight is pretty scary because it just sucks away all of your rings. Also, I almost lost the gear. Stop sucking me, bro! Oh my god! He was sucking me. I found stage 4-1 and had a genuinely fun time with it. It did take me a couple of tries to get all the missions complete, but it was well worth it. All the emeralds on this island require vault keys, so be sure to collect all the ones that you need. After grabbing the first emerald, it was time for another battle. The Caterpillar proved to be a difficult fight. The start of it is very similar to the Strider, just a little less annoying. And then the second part has it firing at you with very little room to get into attack. Cross Slash doesn't work correctly against this thing. Once you stun it, you can just keep using your Cyclone Kick. Be careful of the surrounding lasers though, because they can one-shot you even if you have rings. There's not really any invincibility frames, so you can get stun locked in this fight sometimes. It took me a few tries, but we got there. Yeah, we take those. Against the red pillar, I got kind of stomped on because I just had to make a dick joke. The game decided to tell me I was underpowered here. How rude. The best option against the pillars is to use the terrain to your advantage and go straight for the head, using a basic combo into a cross slash. It should keep you high enough in the air for the whole fight. Against the... haha! I used an actual strategy and managed to win the fight without taking any damage. Just kidding. 4-2 is a really fun stage, but it did take me a few tries to find all the red star rings. Cyberspace is still a nice break from the whole token grinding anyway. You can really start to tell that the max rings and infinite boost abilities shine in a challenge like this. I grabbed the second emerald and then seriously misjudged my progress. How many tokens do I need? I bet you it's 3 more. 37! Wow, okay. The token hunting ended up just being a case of pinging one, grabbing it, pinging another, grabbing that, and so on. It's quite relaxing with the cyberspace occasionally in between, but I'm warning you that this takes a long time. A few tokens later and I somehow managed to get fucking divorced on stream. Man, what a day that was. Chat kept on screaming this phase Amogus or something whenever the Coco were on screen. No idea what that means, but anyway. Also had a lot of fun in stage 4-5. One thing I love about Cyberspace is that the stages have very few auto sections and will rarely make any turns for you. I had also never done stage 4-3 and had a ton of fun with this one too. The music absolutely bangs. And now it's time to face the Master Ninja. A genuinely great battle. Feels like a proper mini-boss with a limited power from Sonic. Definitely play safe and parry the clone attacks. The Master Ninja will hold back their attacks if you sit there and hold a parry, making you waste the move and leave you very open. If you want a smooth fight against them, leave your parry until as late as you possibly can. What's the Guardian? Oh, it's another Ghost. Okay, at least I don't have to worry about aggroing on me. Because that's the most annoying part about most of the Guardians. They're just like... And you're just like, I'm trying to get on with my day, bro. Stage 4-8 was over in a flash with a 30-second S rank time. I didn't need all the keys that were available from the stage, so I left them behind and went after the final Guardian. The game was being a little bit buggy here. Sometimes it will still think you're holding the trigger. Just be wary of this surprise attack. But once you finally reach the top, it's easy. Just like the red pillar. A few days later, the grind continues. Unfortunately, chat were not ready for the big news I had for them. Although, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys here. I'm more of a lesbian than you guys could ever hope to be. It's just true. You just have to accept it. And once you accept it, that's the truth. It'll be, it's been a long run. A long journey using no upgrades, no skills, no fishing, and I then took on the final few tokens I needed and collected the last of the emeralds in preparation for the huge battle that was waiting for me.
Follow me, I'm standing on the border of everything. Listen close, can you hear the spirits sing? Those messages are long ago.
The Supreme has many layers of defense before you can even hope to attack it, and this was my first problem. Position yourself badly and you're thrown away from them. Even once I managed to get close to them, parry and they will just hit you away. I tried a few things like cyloop the defenses, I didn't try a few things like parrying the claw attacks, probably should have tried that. I figured out some different ways to deal some damage, but alas, my rings couldn't hold up, and I was defeated. So is this it? Did we really come all this way just to fall short at the final hurdle? Did I really make a jelly out of Giganto's insides? Did I really curb stomp the wyvern? Did I really go through a fucking divorce? Did I really make a prime cut out of the night just to fail right at the end? Hell no.
Come with me, we'll travel through the trials and tragedy. Rest and play. Can you hear the spirit shout? The secrets in their melodies.
The main strategy is to be incredibly aggressive. I made my best efforts to approach as fast as possible without being touched by the defenses. Once I made it, I did a few hits into a cyclone kick. The cyclone actually stops Supreme from moving, so you can get in a huge amount of damage in what comes across as a short space of time. When Supreme gets ready to hit, you can move out of the way and then back in for an extra hit or two, but his defenses will hit you away quite fast. If you are hit by the attack, your ring counter will still drop during the animation. If you parry the attack, Supreme will launch you away during a cutscene, thereby stopping your ring counter from going down. It's best to avoid their attack altogether to get the most damage, but you can parry the attack as a last resort to be protected by the cutscene. Keep this up and the second phase is within reach. Entering the second phase of the fight, Supreme will start flying and be much more aggressive than defensive. One could argue this is actually more defensive. They start off slowly and quickly speed up. This was my chance to charge in and attack. In the second phase, they won't use the defenses to kick Sonic away if he dodges the big attack, so I could be really aggressive myself. Use the parry if you need to, and then they take an HP wall. To break the HP wall, I had to destroy one of Supreme's guns, and then Sonic is once again blasted away, but clear the quick time event and the fight is basically over, with Sonic rushing back and dealing the final blasts. This was it. This was the end, the entire game beaten with no skills or upgrades. It's over. The actual end boss fight isn't affected by any of the rules in place, so I just spent the entire thing being hyped that I'd done it. This video took an incredibly long time to make, so any and all support is much appreciated. Leave a like if you enjoyed, drop a comment if you want, I love reading them, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I just recently hit 200 subscribers, so a big thank you to everyone here already, and to those to come. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, my name is Snack, and I will see you in the next one.